intersection eventually into Orange County here. Continuing to hug that right lane, and that leads CHP unit about 10 car lengths back. Are you able to see, can you push in on that rear seat there, Josh? Are you able to see anything through there? A little tough. I tell you what, Ryan, when we have a chance, if you're able, let's try and get a shot of the passenger side. Yeah. You see the driver with his left hand up to his ear. It really looks like he's talking to somebody, but I don't see a cell phone in his hand, but he appears to be holding his ear, and he's moving his head. Very relaxed. Doesn't appear too stressed at all. Kind of on a, I mean, we're not going to call this a slow speed pursuit, but definitely below freeway speed limits, and still hovering around 55 miles per hour. I could tell you there is a primary unit, a secondary unit, and then 3 backup units in tow here as we continue southbound on the 405 freeway coming up on Alameda. And we'll take a look at that passenger seat. As you can see, LAPD continuing to assist those CHP units. And a clearer shot now, I think, does confirm that that passenger seat appears empty. So as far as we could tell, only the driver in this black Toyota Tundra, heavy-duty vehicle, and CHP pursuing with a pursuit package of 5 cruisers right behind this truck. Yep. Once again, if you're just joining us live on abc7.com and our 24/7 streaming channels, you are looking live at a CHP pursuit now. This all started in the city limits of Los Angeles and their Wilshire Division units chasing him all the way out to the 110 freeway and then southbound through the South Bay and eventually onto the 405 where California Highway Patrol has picked up this pursuit. The driver in the driver's seat there wanted for a possible carjacking. We don't have much more info than that, but they are working under the assumption that he is indeed armed. And due to the nature of the crime, you can expect that we will continue to see them apply pressure here in a careful way, but they will not, in all likelihood, let this suspect go because of the crime here, especially as we get further south here towards Orange County. We're passing Wilmington, continuing southbound. Moderate rate of speed, just below the speed limit here, doing about 55 miles per hour. We can switch sides again. Yep. We'll put eyes on the driver's seat. Now, there is very little traffic in front of him. There's also a manufactured traffic break behind him, so nobody will be coming up behind. But really, as far as we can see off the nose here, there is virtually nobody on the southbound side of the 405. You can see a little bit of traffic, very light on the northbound side, on the opposite side. But he's got a full freeway to play with, 5 full lanes of 405 pavement, and he is continuing at about 55 miles per hour. You almost wonder if he's got it in cruise control. He's really not fluctuating much at all. He's not doing any lane changing. He appears very relaxed in the driver's seat, and California Highway Patrol really, in this state, if the pursuit stays like this, I think this is just a matter of letting him run out of fuel eventually. Of course, there's no telling how much fuel's in the tank there, but they've got time on their side as long as he remains on the freeway. There is no rush to bring this to an expedited end, especially as long as he's not endangering anybody, and he's really not for the most part. He is traveling at a fairly safe speed, not too fast, not too slow. They've got the freeway basically moving at a generous pace, although a little bit delayed behind here, but there's just no traffic really to really consider here for this equation. So this pickup truck, we'll see just how desperate he is here, but he's refusing to pull over, well aware of the law enforcement behind him, possibly even aware of the commotion above him, and really driving pretty safely, pretty normally. Again, holding on to those 3 and 4 lanes. Yep, sounds good. See a few more cars getting onto the freeway here. He is continuing to look back at those officers behind him. He's taking a glance at that rearview mirror, picking up maybe a little bit of speed, still doing roughly 55, 60 miles per hour as he navigates some of the little traffic entering the freeway. Looks could be deceiving here, though. You know, as safe as the driving appears, it takes nothing away from the dangerous capabilities of this person if he is indeed a threat to society and a carjacking suspect. Certainly the potential for violence here. So we don't want to underestimate the severity of the crimes that this driver is wanted for. But at this point, the driving that we're seeing and the profile of this pursuit is relatively safe and harmless until it's not, right? And at 8:10, the sun is setting. Daylight is dwindling as CHP continues this pursuit into Orange County. Southbound 405 freeway. As we approach the 22, he does have the option of getting off here, but it certainly appears that he's going to remain committed to the 405 and he should be going underneath the 2 freeway in just a second. Actually, the 605 he'll be going under, but crossing the 22 at the interchange here, continuing southbound on the 405. There's the 605, and he passes the 22, committed to the 405 now, continuing southbound. Is he pointing up at us? That light? He is, right? Who's that all the way down there on the other side, Ryan? That's LAPD? And CHP down there too, or just LAPD? Inbound. Got it. Thank you very much. Very good. And that was Seal Beach Boulevard. He just went under there, continuing southbound on the 405 here in Orange County. CHP with full pursuit package, continuing the chase in the number 3 lane there as we get further into the OC. LAPD is continuing to track this with their helicopter from above. California Highway Patrol sending an airship to relieve that LAPD helicopter so he can head back to police business back in LA County. But in the meantime, there is one law enforcement helicopter above, a full pursuit group of 5 patrol units from the California Highway Patrol continuing this mid-speed chase here just under the speed limit on the 405 freeway, continuing as he approaches Garden Grove. Or away from Garden Grove, but I think he's going to commit to the 405 here as he ventures further south. Now down to 40 miles per hour. And indeed, he bypasses the 22 there and now continues southbound on the 405 freeway. And California Highway Patrol with the division handoff now, handing this off, I believe, to the Westminster units, who will replace the primary unit and the subsequent units behind this pickup truck. Unclear whether this truck itself is stolen, but this is a carjacking suspect who is continuing this chase, and you could tell he is still pretty relaxed in there, not really showing any signs of pulling over or changing his mind in terms of giving this up. He's going to take this as far as he can and hopefully eventually just gives it up, but time will tell here. That truck's in pretty good shape, just a matter of how much fuel is in the tank. Once again, he is hardly changing lanes here, continuing in the number 4 lane with a CHP crew behind him at about 40 miles per hour, slowing down a little bit here, what is now on the verge of being a slow speed pursuit down the 405 freeway, just coming up on the Bellaterra Mall here in Orange County and continuing in that number 4 lane. Really not showing any change in behavior here. The driving, again, relatively safe, albeit slow. They have performed a traffic brake behind them, so we don't expect to see any cars coming from behind. Again, the freeway relatively empty, at least on the right side, on the southbound side. Getting reports there may be a flat tire, and it looks like there's a hint of smoke coming from that right side as well. He's now pulling over, getting off the freeway, slowing down yet again, and we'll see. We'll come around if we can and see if there's any truth to that. Apparently, there's a report by one of those units down there that one of those tires may be flat. I did not see any type of a spike attempt here, so it'll be curious to see whether indeed he's riding a flat. They are again asking him to pull over here. He's slowing down, coming to a stop, and he's kind of straddling that solid yellow line here. Vehicle coming to a stop, kicking up a little dust. Now come the windshield wipers. We'll see what he's doing in here. What is he thinking? Is he now? Okay, well, he does have his arms out. Both arms out. You see those 3 units pulling into position, about to execute a felony stop. Here on the 405, southbound 405 at Center Avenue is where he got off the freeway and is now sitting on the exit ramp. Again, this suspect presumed to be armed, as they give him very, very specific instructions. It looks like he's communicating. Officers with their guns drawn. Additional units pulling into position here, at least 5 total. See the 4 there and then more behind him. Driver's side door popping open. Suspect appears to be cooperating. You can see his hands looking back at those officers, continuing to show his hands as he attempts to step out of the vehicle. It's lifted slightly, so it's got a step there, and he will hopefully just continue to comply and cooperate. It certainly appears as though he is willing to give this up. The hands, from my vantage point, appear empty. Again, California Highway Patrol with a felony stop in progress. He was able to pull off. There was a report that he has a flat tire, so it's unclear how mobile the vehicle actually is, although he could certainly move it if he wanted to. But right now he's got that driver's side door open, his hands showing. As he's gotten off at Center Avenue, they've been able to reopen the southbound side of the freeway, which is now seeing more moderate traffic that was slowing down behind this pursuit. Traffic moving once again on the freeway as this driver slowly cooperates with these CHP patrolmen. Still showing his hands there. It's not clear if there's possibly a language barrier, always a possibility. Something is taking a little while here. He seems to be willing. He seems to be doing the right thing, but he's very slow at getting that door open and stepping out of the vehicle. So there could be a good reason for it, or he could be inebriated in some way, but we don't know that for sure. Obviously, very limited information we're dealing with, except for the fact that this is a wanted armed robber, suspected of at least, possibly involved in a carjacking. No. Again, California Highway Patrol handling this felony stop extremely methodically, working to gain visibility in there, trying to confirm that he is indeed the only person in the car. And obviously, as you can see from our picture up here in Air 7, it certainly appears that it is just the driver who we see here about to step out of this vehicle. Still showing his hands, communicating with those officers, looking back at them. Full visibility. You can see his fingers spread out there. He certainly appears to have two empty hands that he's trying to keep visible to those officers. Certainly appears to be doing the right thing, appears to be cooperating, but he is not moving very quickly here. It's just hard to tell from up here what is taking place, what is taking so long. Is there some kind of a handicap potentially, or some other reason why he is still sitting in there, unless he's partially strapped in maybe and doesn't want to remove his hands? Just can't tell, but he is moving slowly, and they are taking their time with this one for sure. CHP with yet an additional black and white pulled up there on the driver's right side, and confirming, triple confirming, that there is nobody else inside this vehicle. Gives you just a hint of how dangerous they suspect this person of being here. So again, going to various lengths here to try and make sure that they know what they're dealing with. They now have visual confirmation, as we have had and have been reporting, of just one person inside this truck as he continues to communicate with those officers behind him. And here comes an arrest team of 5 units approaching the driver's side of the vehicle. You can see them with a shield up, guns pointed at that driver, and they will pull him out, relatively gentle, and place him under arrest. He went willingly, cooperatively, for whatever reason, was not stepping out of the vehicle, and it was not a typical surrender as we normally see at the end of these. He actually put them in a position where they had to approach the vehicle and physically pull him out of that driver's seat, but for whatever reason, he is does not appear to be all there, but they will sort this out. Suspect off the road, traffic moving again, and this pursuit coming to an end in about the safest way possible after a lengthy, relatively slow speed pursuit down the 110 freeway and eventually the 405 freeway. He was speeding at first and then slowed down quite a bit once he got onto the 405, and that's where things kind of petered out. You saw or heard that we had a report of that right tire going out on him. May have had something to do with him pulling over here at Center Avenue, but in any event, this pursuit is over, and that'll do it for our coverage from up here. Reporting live from Air 7 HD, I'm Chris Christie, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.